Today's tutorial we will see how to use the Gitignore file for any project. So why we use the Gitignore file? Gitignore file basically uses to ignore some specific files and folders of a particular project. If we take an example of node modules, as you can see that there are a lot of when we are working real-time project, we have to install a lot of dependencies for our JavaScript project, and if we are using the PHP, then we can install the composer packages to install the dependencies, but it's not required to push everything to our repository like GitHub or GitLab, because it takes a lot of spaces in there. Instead of that, we can just simply push the package.json or composer.json to our remote repository. So on the server, if we run that package.json or composer.json file, then everything will be automatically installed in there, and our task will be completed. So today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can ignore any files and folders. It's not necessary it should be the node modules, but in general we ignore that node modules or vendor folder. Besides that, how we can add any of the folders or files into our Gitignore. As the name mentioned, that Gitignore refers to ignoring those files and folders that Git will not track for any kind of changes. So enough talk, let's see everything in action. We need to create a Gitignore file. As you can see that I have already created a Gitignore file in here, and the file name should be like that. You cannot write any other name instead of .gitignore, and you have to put the dot before the Gitignore. This is really important. Now if we write the node modules in here, node modules, and save the file, nothing will gonna happen. Why? Because we need to initialize the Git repository. For that, we have to write the git init command, and it will initialize the Git repository inside our project directory. So make sure you are in the root directory of your project, and the Gitignore file should be placed in the root directory. Press enter, then it will initialize the Git repository. Once the initialization process is completed, you can see that the node modules folders text faded. That means this folder will not be tracked by the Git, or if we change anything inside of that folder, then Git will completely ignore that. Now if we create any file, let's say test.html, just for an example, and right now it's green. So if we made any kind of changes in here, the Git will going to track this file. But let's say we want to ignore that file also, just add the test.html in here, and this thing completely faded. That means if we make any changes in here, Git will not gonna consider that changes. We can also use the wildcard. Let's say we want to ignore all the HTML files inside that project directory. So just put a asterisk and save that file, and everything with the extension of .html will be ignored in that particular project directory. So it's pretty simple. You just need to remember a couple of rules in here. So right now I'm going to remove all this. We need to do our first commit. So first add it, git add, and then dot, and press enter. It will add everything to the tracking process. If we check the git status, then you will see all the files except the files inside the node modules will be started tracking. Press enter, everything is green right now. So as you can see that there is another file which is called the .ds_store, which is a file for the Mac. So we'd like to ignore that file too. Let's copy it and paste it in here, save it, and now if we write the git status, then you will see that this file has been modified, but it's not ignoring. So this is the problem that we are going to talk about. Let's first consider that file, and later we will talk about how to ignore a folder as well. So what we need to do is the git, we have to write the git rm -- cache, and then we need to write the file name. So let's add the ds_store, should be the same you cannot change the cases of the file, and then press enter. If we check the git status right now, then you can see that this file has been removed from the tracking. Let's commit with a message that this is our first commit, and then press enter. Just think about it, we would like to add the assets folder into the Gitignore file, because we do not need to track the assets. If we add the assets in here, then Git tracking all the changes. So what we need to do is write the git status. As you can see that Gitignore file has been modified, but there is no impact on the assets folder. So what we have to do is write the git rm. Then we have to recursively ignore all the files inside of that folder, and then write cache it, and then have to mention the folder's name. Let's say our folder name is assets, and then press enter, and it is removed all the caching from here. So if we write the git status right now, you can see that git file has been modified and these two files has been deleted. This deleted doesn't mean that this file has been completely deleted from your project, it's just deleted from tracking. So let's save it, and right now you can see that assets folder has been completely ignored from the tracking. So if we change any let's say console.log, let's say console.log, and then write I am ignored and save it. If we check the git status, then you can see that this file changes completely ignored. So let's say git add dot, and then git commit -m second commit. Okay, all right, then let's say if we add a few more lines, console.log want to be tracked again, and then save it, but it's not tracking. How do you check that? Simply write the git status, and it's not tracking any changes. So in order to track that file again, go to the Gitignore file, remove the assets folder, save it, and it's back. If we write the git status, then you can see that this is the untracked folder. So we have to write the git add, then add a dot, and git status. As you can see that this file started tracking again. So let's say the git add we have already added, so just we need to write the git commit -m third commit, and then simply git status. Everything right now is working perfectly. So if we console.log thank you, save it. If we write the git status, then you can see that there is a change, but it's not in the staging yet. So git add dot git status again, and see that git started tracking the file. So it's pretty simple. This way we can easily add our files into the Gitignore. So I hope that helps. If you have any kind of question regarding that Gitignore, please consider to put your comment in the comment section. Thanks for watching.